Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and in this video we're going to continue on going through Lodash functions. My goal in this video is to finally get done with the array functions. So we start off all the way here with all the array functions. We've worked our way down. Now we got to intersection with, and we got that much more to go. Okay. So let's see here. Where was I? Intersection with join. So next is join. So let's take a look at what join does. Okay, converts all elements in an array into a string separated by a separator. Okay, so that's also something that's already in JavaScript. Okay. But might as well go over it. So in this case, okay, so basically the way it exists currently is you would just do my r dot join, and if you wanted each let's say, so all these numbers will be turned into strings, and if you wanted them separated by a space, I would just pass in a space. Okay, save, and now I'll get a string of all the numbers with a space. Except I did a thing. Unexpected token. Oh, this over here. Save. There we go. And there you go. So you get a string. So they're just saying, doing the same thing. Dash join. I am joining this array and using a space. Cool. Okay, next, last. Gets the last element of an array. That's pretty straightforward. Okay, so I guess that's a quick way of doing it versus like right now, without doing that, the way you'd have to do it to get the last element of an array, you'd be like my r dot length minus 1. That's how you'd get the last element of an array. Using this function, you can just do this instead. And actually, let's just show you that. So that's going to get the 7. See? 7. And using Lodash, you would just do this. Underscore dot last. Okay. My r. Which that's actually not a bad alternative in the sense of the amount of characters I've had to type. 7. Cool. So not bad to use if you already have Lodash loaded up for other things. Last index of, and that's just going to do the same thing, just get the index of the last element of the array. You know, I'm not going to even bother to go look at that one. Nth. Let's see what nth is. Gets the element at the end index of the array. If it is negative, the nth element from the end is returned. Okay. Okay. This really is kind of a silly function to have. I can see some uses for it, but basically, I mean, that's just how arrays work to begin with. So if I wanted to grab a particular element of an array at a particular index, I could just do my r 2, 3, save, and ta-da! I get that index. Now, if I wanted to get something from the end of the array, I would just be like my r dot length, and if I wanted to get it like 2 spots from the end, I would just do minus 2, and that would get me the 0. Although the nice thing about nth is that it's a little bit less typing. So if I just do this, nth, nth, so I have to do dot nth. Okay, and I pass in my r, so I want to get the nth element of my r, the element that's at index 3. Actually, we're going to do negative 2. So that's a little bit easier to type than typing in my r dot length minus 2. So that's okay. So when I'm doing the back stuff, that's still, I guess, somewhat useful. Meh. Full. Okay, removes all given values from array using same value for equality. So let's take a look at an example. Okay, pull array AC. Okay, so it just pulls out values from an array that you put in there. That is cool. Okay, so in that case, if I wanted to pull out those zeros, okay, I would just do this underscore dot pull from my array. I want to pull out 0. Okay, and that should pull out all the zeros. Ta-da! Okay, I mean I could do that with filter, so I could it's built into which is built into JavaScript, but that's a little bit more typing. My r dot filter. Then I have to pass in a callback function, value, and then I pass in my test. So my test is going to be that the value is not 0. So the value is not equal to 0. And that should get me the same thing. Okay, so let me run that. No, wait, that didn't. Not equal. Let's think about that. Value my r dot filter. Let me pause for that siren. Okay, so the problem is I forgot the word return. That wouldn't matter. I have to return the result of that for that to actually do its thing. So save, return value not equal to 0. And yeah, so you get the same thing. Okay? But yeah, pull was a lot, you know, if I'm just yanking stuff out, pull is a much quicker way to do that. A lot less typing. So that gets a cool for me. Pull all. I am assuming it just pulls all values. Okay, this method is like pull except it accepts an array of values to remove. Oh, got it. So you would just do this instead. So if I want to get like, so let's get rid of this. This is actually pretty nice. So dot pull. Okay, and I want to get rid of stuff from my array. And I would do, I want to get rid of 0 and 7. Okay, so it'll get rid of both of those values from the array and give me an array without those. Oh, where did I mess up? Let's see here. Parentheses, parentheses, parentheses. Oh, I always forget this guy over here. Save. Okay. It did not pull what I wanted to pull out. But you said, so array. So we should take out all the A's and C's. So that's what we did here. My array. Oh, pull all. There we go. Pull all. There we go. So that works. Very cool. Now, again, the downside of using Lodash is it, depending on how you do it, if you bring in the Lodash library, it's a big library. So you're bringing in all that into your, so if you're only using 1 or 2 functions, you're bringing in all this extra code that you're not using, which just makes your bundle bigger. Although when you use things like, I think Rollup with tree shaking, and I think they've built tree shaking into Webpack now too. What tree shaking will do is it'll make sure it only pulls out the functions that you use. So even though you're pulling in this big library, it'll only actually bundle in what you use, which makes your bundle smaller and makes using things like Lodash not expensive because you're only going to have to pay for what you use instead of paying for the whole thing in the sense of how big your bundle size is. Something to consider. So I know Rollup does that for sure. Webpack, I think it kind of does that. I think you have this extra like trickiness to it, but I've never tried it. So that's the thing. Okay, pull all by. Okay, this method is like pull all accepted iterate e, which is invoked by each element. So that means it's going to do something to each element. Okay, so let's just take a look at the example. So here's the array, and it wants to pull out x1 and x3. And iterate e is x. So yeah, removes 1 and removes 3 and removes 1. Not sure what the x is doing. Okay. Let's see here. The iterate invoked per element. The values to remove. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that did. And values to generate the criterion by which they are compared. Vote with one argument value. Out there. I guess it's saying this to compare that property. Shows just to see if that property is the same. I would need a better example. Let's see if we can create one. Okay, and that was what? With pull all by. Pull all by. Okay. And let's create an object name. Well, we want an array of objects. Array name. You know what? I want to probably be using this again, so let's just call this const object array. So that way, whenever I need it, I can just switch over to this. Okay, array object name Alex age 34. And then we'll just do another one. And this will be Bob, age 50. Save. Okay, so then if we were to take that array, my obj array, and we would want to get rid of anything with the age 34. Age 34 based on the age property. So I should just remove me if I understand this correctly, but let's find out. Yep, it did that. Okay, cool. So basically it looks to see if this matches age. Okay. I could definitely make it easy to filter out some objects. That's I'll give that a pass. Pull width is probably gonna take a callback, kind of like all the other widths. So I'm gonna kind of let that one go. I'm gonna just move on from pull for sake of time. Remove. Removes all elements from an array that predicate returns truthy and returns an array of the removed elements. Okie dokie. So let's think about that. Removes all elements from an array that predicate returns. So I'm assuming you're passing in a callback. And if the callback returns true, does this mutate the array? Return the new array of removed items. The function invoke. So this iterates the array. So this is kind of like a weird filter meets splice. So let's try this out. Dot remove. We're gonna do my R again. And then we have to put in the callback value. And what we're gonna do is say, hey, if the value equals 0, remove it. Return value equals 0. Okay. What did I do wrong here? I think I'm missing a parentheses again. Oi. There we go. Now let's run that code. And see, it removes the zeros, but to make that a little bit clearer, I need the console.log the original my R to see if we remove the zeros from the array. Did we mutate the original array? Filter does not mutate the original array. So if this does mutate it, this would be actually a substantial difference. Yep. Cool. So you got a new array with the removed values. And so this is more like, it's like splice mixed with filter. That's actually extremely useful. Okay. Because usually you'd have to do some sort of combination of the two where, okay, if the filter is true, then you're going to use that resulting array to go back and splice the original array. Yeah, this is better. I'm sure reverse does exactly what we think it does, which that already exists in JavaScript. So this reverses the array, so the first element becomes the last. Yeah. So you just pass in the array. That exists now. you can just do, you know, so basically what they're saying is do this. Dot my R, no, dot reverse my R. And that'll just reverse the array. Save. Okay. And then actually we don't need the second console log, but you see it just reversed the array's order. But in JavaScript, you couldn't do that already. I could just do my R dot reverse, and then that should do the same thing. You know, in a sense where the built-in version really doesn't offer me that much more difficulty, I'm going to use the built-in version. But good to know that's there. Slice, I'm imagining that's going to do what slice does. Creates a slice of an array from start up to but not including the end. This method is used instead of array slice to ensure dense arrays are returned. The array to slice, the start position. Okay, that works just like the normal native slice. So I might as well just do the example. So natively, you can do this slice. So if I want to slice, you know, everything from 2, but not up to, but not including the 7. Let's see how many indexes are there. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it'll be 1 through 6. So that should get me starting here. This, but not include this. Okay. And then that doesn't mutate the original array. So I'm not going to bother console logging the original. And there you go. The only difference is when you do it through Lodash, it's going to look like this, which should be the same thing. Yep. Sorted index. What does that do? Uses a binary search to determine the lowest index at which value should be inserted into an array. Ah. Interesting. I like this. Okay, so let's say let's make a sorted array. Const sor equals, it's just a natural 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. So now if I do this, sorted index, pass in my array, and I want to I'm looking to insert the value of 4, which is not in the array. So the idea is going to say, okay, well, if I were to insert this in the place where it would be still sorted, where would I insert it? So that would be here. So it should be 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3. It should be inserted into index 3. So save, unless it means after index 2. We'll see what it says. 3, yeah. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty good way to know where you need to put something. Neat. Okay. And sort of index by, index of. Okay, that just seems like it's back into having all those extra bits where you do a condition. I'm not going to quite go through all this again. You guys, I think, have seen the pattern with difference and initial and all that stuff, and intersection. Cool. I'm sure sorted unique just means they have to be unique. Tail should probably mean grab the, if head meant grab the first element, tail should mean grab the last element. Gets all but the first element of the array. So grabs the tail of the array. Head grabs the first element. I see. Because there's head and tail. That's useful. I can see now this would be useful if you're creating like a linked list kind of thing. Because technically the head tells you where the next linked list is, while the rest of the array is the actual data. So that would make sense. Take. Creates a slice of an array with n elements taken from the beginning. Okay, so this in this case it's just simpler because you're not specifying, you know, it's not like slice where you specified where to start and where to end. You just you're always taking from the beginning. So it's just a simpler version of slice. Take right. Okay, that's just meaning take from the end. And then take while always just means like just a test. Got it. Union. That's what does union do. Creates an array of unique values in order from all given arrays. Okay. Let's see here. Let's try that. Okay. Union. I have two arrays with numbers. So we have sort or so r, and we have my r. We pass those in. Let's see what we get. It's supposed to just basically combine the arrays and leave it with sort the array and only leave unique values. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 0, 4, 5. It didn't quite sort it. Or did it? 1, 2, 3. Interesting. Oh, 1, 2, 3. 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I just combined them. The array of unique values. I guess it means in the order that they are in the array, but I got rid of any duplicate values because we don't see 1 and 2 multiple times. That's fine. You can kind of do that by creating a new set in JavaScript. So let me actually see if that would work. So let's see here. It's console log new set, and then the new set we're going to say so r. We're passing an array that equals, I'm going to use a spread operator, so r, so includes all the so r elements and all the my r elements in the array, so with duplicates. And then the set should only allow unique values. So yeah, I get that. And then I want to actually turn this into an array. So I'm going to do dot 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 dot. So that way it's not an object. Because see, when you just do a set, it's still an object. So I want to turn that set into an array afterwards, after I've used it to get rid of the duplicates. And yeah, you end up with the same thing. Okay, except that's a lot. That looks a little bit more complicated than just doing union. So yeah, union's not bad. Okay. And I mean, this is definitely a succinct way of doing it relative to the old ways of doing it before sets and spread operator existed. But even then, union is pretty smooth. Okay, union by. Got it. Unique, I'm sure just basically gets all unique values. Is a duplicate-free version of an array. So it's the same thing as using set, except you're not combining arrays, it's just one array. Unzip. That sounds risque. This method is like zip. Well, I haven't used zip. Except that it accepts an array of grouped elements and creates an array regrouping the elements to their pre-zip configuration. So let's look at the example. That sounds confusing. Okay. So we don't know what zip. So basically, let's just unzip something that's been zipped. So let's see here. Something that's zipped. You're taking here. We have an array, and another array, and another array, and the result. Okay, it's interesting. It takes like the first element of each one, puts it in one array, second element, and then this would just undo that. I can see how that can be useful. Like if you had like you wanted to create an array of student, like you have a bunch of objects that are students, and you wanted to create a bunch of arrays of items. Yeah, I can see how this would be useful. Because then you can create a bunch of arrays for each property of an object. Except in this case, they're arrays. So it doesn't quite do that. Let me. But I can see some potential here, if the arrays were related. It wouldn't be something I would find a use for regularly, but if you had two arrays of the same length that are related, and you just kind of want to bundle them up, you could do this. You could. I don't know why I wouldn't want to rather just try to turn them into some sort of entries or object, but yeah, it's a thing. Okay. Without creates an array excluding all given values. next. Okay, so let's see here. It says, hey, take this array, make a new array out of it without 1 and 2. Okay, so it's kind of like, yeah, that is. It just creates an array without 1 and 2. I don't even know if I really need to do an example on that one. That's pretty straightforward. XOR. What does that mean? Creates an array of unique values that is the symmetric difference of given arrays. Okay, let's take a look. So 2, 1 and 2, 3. So the only thing that overlaps is 2, so it gives me 1 and 3. Okay, so basically creates an array of unique values that is the symmetric difference of the given arrays. So it basically gives me the unique values that don't overlap in both arrays. As far as I understand that, that's fine. XOR by XOR except the iterate E, and then we get that whole iterator thing. I'm not going to bother with that right now. And that gets the comparator. That's like the function callback. Here we get into the zip. So you can zip an array where you basically turn it into those weird. Now zip object sounds like it'd be more useful. Let's take a look at that. So even though I'm just going to be just talking about arrays in these 3 videos, let's take a look at it. Zip object. Oh, it turns it into an object. So these would be an array of keys. So this would be, now that's useful because then if you were to I wonder if they have an unzip an object. I'm just gonna skip real quick just to check because I am curious. Object, do we have an unzip object? Is that a thing? I mean, 2 pairs might do it. But no, that just creates a pair. I wonder if they have something that's like the invert of that, because that could be really useful if you had your array of keys and array of values and you just wanted to zip them together. That would actually be pretty cool. But that concludes all the array functions for Lodash, and then we'll continue on in another video at another time with more of the Lodash functions. So I'll see you guys later on. Ciao.